What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA DFS Early Look. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed below or directly at WiseTake.com if you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level. We're a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. WiseTake.com. Day passes available as low as $2.50. You could try out some NBA content, which includes our pre-lock live stream, the Wise stream, which we do 45 minutes prior to lock, take you up to lock to try to keep you as updated as possible with the news. We know the NBA is ever changing on a daily basis with constant injury news, and we try to keep you covered. So go check us out. We got plenty more. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe and notifications bell. Don't miss out on any of the free content we do put out. Do me a favor and share the show as much as you can. The shares really go a long way. They really help us out, allow us to continue to do what we do and put out free content. If you could like the video and leave some comments. The likes are awesome. I appreciate y'all, but the comments are great too, man. I'm trying to interact with y'all as much as I can. Leave a comment, whether it's something I said, whether it's something about the slate that just your thoughts, updates, whatever the case is. We appreciate the community feel. We are a community at the WiseTake Nation, and we'd like you to participate on the YouTube Nation, and Podbean, and iTunes Nation, and Spotify Nation, whatever that is. Okay, that being said, we got 9 games on a Friday, and we're going to start things off with Golden State and Orlando, one of 2 of our 7 p.m. games that are going to lock first. We got Steph Curry in a pretty good spot, right? Orlando, Michael Carter-Williams is their starting point guard. They did lose Markelle Fultz, who's a pretty good defender. Steph Curry definitely in play, and as is Vooch. We don't know if Draymond's playing. He's currently questionable. But Nikola Vucevic is 9.7 on FanDuel, and where's his DraftKings price? 9.9 on DraftKings. A little steep on DraftKings, right? We're not used to paying $10K for him, but obviously he's earned that role. Kelly Oubre's played really well for Orlando. He's been really, really consistent. 44 minutes in an overtime game against Miami, but you can see he's played well. He's played really well. Certainly in play here. Well, Michael Carter-Williams did not play so well against the Knicks. Curious if they're going to push him over that 30-minute limit or not. Now, there were a few other people out, I believe. Looks like Fournier did indeed play. But Terrence Ross, man. Only got 30 minutes, but just balled. Now, I will say this. 2 blocks, 2 steals. Can't really count on that. And 10 for 16 from the field. 5 of 6 from 3. He was just on. Right? However, that is 2 games in a row that he did well. Now, against Phoenix, we understood the usage. We understood the shots. He didn't take as many shots. He didn't take no 20-something shots, right? He took 16, but he shot really well. Still, we have to at least consider him and acknowledge him because of how well he's played. 6K on FanDuel. 6.5 on DraftKings. Speaking of Michael Carter-Williams, he's 5'1". Oh, it looks like James Wiseman might actually be back. No, okay, Wiseman won't play Friday, so never mind. That's just FanDuel not having the right tags up. Gotcha. Yeah, DraftKings has it. DraftKings has it. They know. They know. You know, I think James Ennis missing. He's expected to play Friday, so Ennis is expected to come back. I think him being out was another reason that they were able to find some more work for Ross. Eric Pascal played 32 minutes. He's 3,800 on DraftKings. To keep an eye out on the status of Draymond Green. The reason he played 32 minutes is because Draymond missed. If Draymond's in, he should be playing some center. Undersized. I mean, it's still a really good spot for Orlando. Pascal 4,100 on FanDuel, but he is center. So we'll keep an eye out for Draymond. I want to say he's probable. His question was truly questionable. So we'll have to wait and see. Nothing too exciting, but there's definitely some plays here, right? We'll move on to Denver and Cleveland. So we already know that Cleveland said they're not playing Drummond anymore. So Jared Allen has been moved to center on FanDuel, which is a bummer. I liked where he was before. For Denver, is Michael Green's questionable now? Okay, he's probable. Either way. We'll take a look. So Will Barton's currently questionable for a person attending a personal matter. We're not quite sure if he's ready. If he is ready, he's only 5'6" on DraftKings. Wonder if there'd be any kind of limitation on him, but he's 5'2" on FanDuel. He's pretty cheap. And a plus matchup, I'd say, against a bad Cleveland team. PJ Dozier's out. Gary Harris came back, and now he's gonna miss another game. So, and I think Paul Millsap is out as well. Yeah, Paul Millsap is out as well. So kind of the same candidates Where's Monte Morris? Monte Morris looks like he's good to go. Yeah, only got 19 minutes though. Just noting. Anyway, so Jokic's usage should be pretty damn high again, as should Jamal Murray. Can Cleveland hang around this game? They are home. They're pretty bad, but they are home. But that's going to be a big question. Denver coming off of that overtime game, which was, I think, the back end of a back-to-back. But the usage for Murray and Jokic right now are massive with all these guys out. If Barton comes back, it could take a little bit of a, he'll take a little bit of that away. But I think Barton coming back can really affect the status of how much we like Michael Porter Jr. Did a little bit better for us against Washington. Still wasn't quite what we were looking for. But against Cleveland, once again, it should be a pretty plus matchup. This is probably like player to player, like literally matching up on the court. This is probably the best matchup for him, for his type. Taurean Prince looks like he's out for Brooklyn. For Cleveland. So they really don't have a power forward. Well, I guess Cedi Osman, right? Cedi Osman only 4,200, should play a ton. 35 minutes against Golden State. 4,800 on DraftKings. They were a little smarter about it, but 35 minutes, yeah. So yeah, Cedi Osman's in play here. Took 15 shots, 10 rebounds. That's the big one, as he should be playing the 4 with Taurean Prince out, and this team's refusal to play Drummond. Osman should be playing a lot of 4. So there's a value play that I think we can jump on. Other than that, I'm not thrilled with too many of these guys. Sexton's okay. He just hasn't done a whole ton. Same thing with Garland. They're cheap. I don't mind them, at least on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I'm just, but I'm not that into it though. But Jokic and Murray, sure, their ownership should be high. It's the first game. We'll see what happens. But the blowout you do have to worry about because it's a Cleveland game. Either way, Cedi Osman, though, right? Don't quote me on that though. Atlanta Boston, a little rematch action. Again, really good spot for Jason Tatum. He went nuts for us. Went for 54 against Atlanta, but Sabonis went like for 80 that day because of the overtime. So it's kind of a waste. But we like attacking Atlanta with power forwards. We saw Julius Randle go nuts. We saw Tatum put up 35 points. So I'll be going right back to Tatum, no problem. He's 8-8 on DraftKings, 9-4 on FanDuel. Trae Young had himself a pretty good game, I believe. Right? Yeah, he did. And it looks like Jaylen Brown currently questionable. We'll see what happens with Jaylen Brown. He hasn't put it together. His usage has been phenomenal, but he hasn't really kind of put it together. Now, this game is going to be a little bit different. Last time we had Kemba out. So Kemba in obviously could impact the usage of these other players. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. Clint Capella has put together another few strings of good games. Certainly in play here once again. But I still think I like Tatum, especially at Brown's. If Jaylen Brown's that we can fire away, we can include Kemba in that conversation as well. Kevin Huerter for Atlanta did not do very well, but he did play big minutes still. We know he's capable of it. And again, Boston is a team he normally does well against. Guys that kind of sit back and shoot are typically the guys that do well against Boston. So I'm curious to see what happens there. Looks like Daniel Tice is set to return. It's going to knock Robert Williams, a.k.a. the Time Lord, back to the bench. It's going to interfere with Tristan Thompson's minutes as well. I don't think we'll leave it at that, but pretty interesting game. I think is worth garnering some ownership because of the pace that Atlanta plays. Ben Simmons is probable to return after his illness. Still a great spot for Joel Embiid. And like a lot of Philly games and like a lot of Chicago games, your biggest question here is, can they keep it close? Meaning, can Chicago keep it close? Because if they can, Embiid should smash. Tobias, with all 3 of them healthy, 8-2 on FanDuel is a little bit too expensive for Tobias. 7-9 is like, he's still within tournament range for DraftKings, but I think the price is a little elevated at this point. And same thing with Simmons. I'm more likely to just go to Embiid if I'm going to go to any one of these guys. Levine is obviously, like, if the game is close, you would think it's going to be on Levine's back. White's going to have a touch matchup. Wendell Carter's got his hands full, right, undersized against Embiid. Patrick Williams is okay, but I'm just not really digging a whole ton from the Chicago side at the moment. But I do like Embiid. Again, that's gonna need to stay close though. Detroit and Memphis. move on to you next. Okay. So John Morant's still cheap on FanDuel at 7-1. Still cheap on DraftKings at 7-5. Jeremy Grant's still too cheap. I mean, he's 7-5 on DraftKings, 7-6 on FanDuel. He's just continuing to play massive minutes. We know Blake Griffin is out, right? They're not playing him no more. And the usage has been phenomenal for him. Mason Plumlee, I guess this is a straight tournament play, man. You don't know, against Chicago, that was a smash spot, and he sucked. But he did put a string of really good games, 3 games in a row with the Lakers, Brooklyn. Then he missed a couple, then did it again against New Orleans. So, you know, don't want to rule him out. Though Joval there is definitely going to be more difficult. I actually don't mind Joval. Kyle Anderson's price is up to $7K, man. Talk about playing well. Kyle Anderson's playing really well. But $7K is steep, man. Even 6-4 on FanDuel, on DraftKings, I'm not crazy about. Just not crazy about it. Now, Dylan Brooks, it looks like it's questionable to play. If he were to miss, there was one more guy missing, then yeah, I think would be more of a reason, a little more persuasion to take him. But Brandon Clark, 5'8" not bad. He got 24 minutes against OKC. Good to see they're working him up that way. I think Clark is fine against Detroit. No Blake Griffin anymore anyway. I'm good with that. This is an interesting little game. Memphis does push the pace a little bit. And obviously DeLon Wright, who I didn't mention, just getting minutes right now. They got rid of Rose, who was threatening his minutes, and now he's playing big minutes. So DeLon Wright we can consider. How much is right? 6-1 on DraftKings, 6-6 on FanDuel. OKC, Milwaukee. Back-to-back from Milwaukee, obviously. Great spot for Giannis. I don't really see anybody that's capable of holding him down. Don't mind SGA, though again I was a little disappointed this year with the usage. SGA meaning Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We'll check the status on Jrue Holiday. He was out, and we don't know what the deal is. We'll see whenever he returns. We're just going to assume he's out until he's back. Chris Middleton, another disastrous performance. The price at 7-3 on FanDuel is enticing. 7-6 ain't bad on DraftKings either with the usage he's supposed to have, but he just has not looked good. Decent little spot for Al Horford, but SGA's back, so I think the usage does take a dive. And if you think this game gets ugly, play some Bobby Portis. I played a little bit of too much Bobby Portis last night. Did not go well, full disclosure. Hamidou Diallo is down to 5,300 on FanDuel. That's kind of interesting. I know the minutes have been down with everybody healthy, but 5.3 is really cheap. You don't need him to do a ton, and he's pretty active. So I think they're thin enough to where on FanDuel I'd take some shots. DraftKings is 6-1, maybe not, but FanDuel I might take some shots. But then again, I do have a little bit of bias, so I do love that guy. Horford's back. That's going to send Roby to the bench, so he did get a price increase, but that's just going to send him back to the bench. I don't really see too much else to get into here, but obviously, yeah, a good spot for Giannis. But is there really a bad spot for Giannis? I don't think so. Phoenix and New Orleans, good spot for Zion. FanDuel priced him up at 8.7. That's the highest I think I've seen him this year. He's been smashing, though. And this is the spot where he could really smash again. He's way bigger than Crowder, way stronger than Sarge, Kaminsky, all the other guys that they would potentially put out there against him. And Phoenix has been pretty good, for the record. I'm cool with Ingram, though I think it's the New Orleans side I'm a little bit more interested. Phoenix has played really slow. I'm okay with Booker. I'm good with Paul. DeAndre Ayton is probably the guy, right? But we have to check the status on Steven Adams. Because if Adams is out, okay, he's doubtful. If Adams is out, then they're really going to struggle against bigs. DeAndre Ayton, we can load up. However, we may want to look into playing Willie Hernangomez, who's 4-4 on FanDuel. And how much on DraftKings? 3.9 on DraftKings. I mean, that's the guy, right? He played 29 minutes against Portland, 17 rebounds. He's a very high energy, high point per minute average type player. Yeah, you're going to have to worry about foul trouble. You're going to have to worry about a couple things. But, yeah, I don't see how we don't load up. If Adams is doubtful, which it looks like he is doubtful, I think we load. It's just as good of a spot for Ayton. Willie Hernangomez can't defend for shit. That's why he doesn't play much. But at this point, he's completely outplayed Jackson Hayes. Right? He's won that second backup job. I would assume he starts, and if he does, man, FanDuel, if you don't want to load up on him, I kind of understand. Number one, he's a little more expensive. Number two, you only get one center, right? And we just talked about Embiid. Ayton's in a really good spot on the other side of this. But on DraftKings, I suspect he will be amongst the highest owned tomorrow, and for good reason. So one of the more marquee games we'll have to keep an eye on. Toronto, Minnesota, back-to-back for Toronto. Minnesota, man, they still suck, but they did get Cat back, and they've been taking teams down to the wire, playing competitively against teams. They were competitive against the Clippers, the Lakers, and then they just went to overtime against the Pacers. Granted, the Pacers did not look good. Cat I'm okay with. I don't think he's really done, 37 minutes against the Pacers, went for 53, but he hasn't looked still as crisp. Kyle Lowry, we'll have to check the status of. I know he missed the game on Thursday. We'll have to see if he plays Friday. If he's out, we can once again look towards Fred VanVleet, who is 7-8 on DraftKings, probably too cheap for the spot if Lowry's out, and AK on FanDuel. I don't mind taking some shots on Boucher, but on FanDuel his price is kind of up. Norman Powell played well. If Lowry's out, I'll go back to Norman Powell. I don't mind that. The Minnesota side is a little bit tricky, though. Beasley's price is so high. He's earned it. Don't get me wrong. He's earned it, but still don't feel totally comfortable doing it. D'Lo's still out. How much is Rubio, just out of curiosity? 5'3" and 6'2". Wow, 6'2" on DraftKings over there. That's what happens when you go for 47. But his price was on the rise kind of anyway, more than I thought was justified. Anthony Edwards exploded the other day and then came back down to earth against the Pacers. That tends to happen when players hit a ceiling game, right? Maybe we should stay away from Rubio. Anyway. But yeah, VanVleet, Siakam's cool, but the pricing here isn't all that. I mean, if Lowry's out, then VanVleet and Siakam's price are just fine, right? But Powell's the one I got my eye on FanDuel. I'll leave it at that. OG's ownership should be low. DraftKings maybe OG, but he didn't look so great. We were on him a little bit. We were. Utah Clippers, we got a little rematch action, and we got some injury news to watch for. So Mike Conley is a game-time decision. He's questionable to play. If he were to miss, I will go right back to Jordan Clarkson, who's 5'9". I'll continue to play him. Did not shoot well, still got to 30. I'm comfortable with that. If he is in, then obviously I might have to back off a little bit. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are both questionable as well. George has not played in a while, and Kawhi's missed 3 games in a row now. Wow. If those guys miss, I will go right back to Lou Williams. If those guys are in, I'll be a little reluctant to play Lou Williams. Rudy Gobert completely smashed these guys on the boards, so you can look for that. If Kawhi and PG are back, I think that changes. I think things go down a little bit differently, right? They moved Ingles to shooting guard like a bunch of dicks on FanDuel. That is. And again, if Paul George and Kawhi are out, Marcus Morris, whose price has now been elevated, has played well outside of that one game against Utah. Keep an eye on. You know who else is? Royce O'Neal's looked pretty good. Since Conley's been out, Royce O'Neal's looked pretty good. He has. Interesting slate. I think the New Orleans. I mean, we got that value in New Orleans, and we have some other potential value opening up. We talked about Cedi Osman, so we got some decent value plays. But I think Willie Hernangomez is about to be the cover boy on this one. Anyway, Nation, that's going to do it. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you think of this slate. A lot could change. Obviously, this is an early look, first look, whatever you want to call it. But I want to hear back from you. Hit the like button on your way out. And for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.